Talking about murder.
Okay. Hey.
Hi, how are you?
We are the Mistresses of Murder.
And this is episode
6? Yeah, it's 6, right. So we're back again. 6 episodes.
Still
our last episode was not our worst episode, so...
That's what I thought it was going to be.
When I was editing it and I was listening back to it, I thought it sounded wonderful. So I think you just got in your head because your murder was short, that's all.
Still lasted longer than roller derby.
Exactly. That's right.
Nothing matters.
It's been almost 2 months now, basically.
Yeah. Nothing
So,
else matters as long as we last longer than roller derby.
As long as we beat our roller derby record.
Then after our 600 episodes, then we'll find something else to do.
And then we'll actually go back to roller derby.
Whoa, no.
I liked it. It was definitely, I think we mentioned this before, but it's a fucking workout.
Yeah.
But I really liked it. I would definitely skate again for fun.
That's because you've been for fun.
For fun. In fact, I don't know. I don't think I've never been coordinated enough for any kind of sport, really. So, if I got good enough at it, I would go ahead and try roller derby again. But you saw me when we were trying to do those what it was the how many laps in 10 minutes or whatever.
I feel like it was less than 10 minutes. It had to.
They had a special word for it. It was 5 and 5, or I don't know. Remember?
Yes,
it was 5 laps in 5 minutes, but it wasn't that number. But
it was 50 and 5.
Jesus Christ!
It was a lot of laps. You don't remember them skating past us?
I mean, I remember them skating past us, but
they were maybe it was 25 and 5.
Maybe that was it.
Because that feels
a little bit better. It was definitely.
I think my highest was 10.
I don't know how many I got, but
you definitely got more than I did because I don't skate. I rollerblade.
I don't know. I was more of a skate person back in the day because I just felt not coordinated enough. So it having just one row of wheels as opposed to 4. I just would. It's like a cow that just falls over. Or no, it's the goats that just kind of fall over. That was me.
Scream and then fall.
Yeah, that literally me at every child's birthday party. So,
I wish I could have been there to see that.
But yeah. Man.
This has been fun.
All right. I'll edit out that awkward silence.
Keep it.
Sure. I'm just gonna let everybody think about what they've done today.
I hope everybody's day is going great.
Ours is going okay.
Ours is going okay now that we got the thermostat working.
Don't even talk about the thermostat.
Ryan's just gonna listen to this episode later and be like, these assholes.
Yeah.
They were making fun of me.
I really was. I just thought it was silly. I shouldn't say the password. Somebody will try to hack into our house.
Who's gonna hack into your house to change the temperature?
And it also goes to our panel too. So if somebody breaks into our house and they'll call and they'll be like, what's the password? And you have to have that password for them to be like, all right, you're good.
Who's going?
If you're gonna ask who's
the time.
Crackhead might.
I don't think crackheads listen to our podcast, and if crackheads do, they don't know where you live.
That one crackhead.
Except for one. Well, except for 2. 2! Well, that one. You know which one I'm talking about.
The one that came to our house?
No, the other crackhead.
Oh. Wait, is it what I'm thinking it is?
You should.
Oh, you're gonna have to elaborate.
The other one that lives down the way.
What in the world?
The other one that lives... Hold on.
Are you... Okay, she's writing it down.
Oh! That crackhead.
You don't live close enough.
I said he lives down the way. That doesn't mean he lives right down the street.
That's not at all. But you know what? He is a crackhead.
But you know what? You're a crackhead and you know who you are.
God.
It's actually just talking about Bicycle Jesus. If that's his name, I forgot.
That's what you told us his name was. I do wonder if he was the one who stole our bikes.
I really...
If so...
Wait,
come on.
So I didn't tell you that we avenged you in Ram.
What?
So there were these people that were riding their bikes in my complex. Mm-hmm. And then...
Did you steal their bikes?
Then they stole a truck.
They stole a truck?
And we stole their bikes.
Wait. Back up a bit. I feel like we skipped a couple chapters in that story. Okay. Can you elaborate?
Okay. So there were these two crackheads, and they were apparently, I don't know I don't know how the story produces. All I just know is that my mom was like, so, the guy right next door to you that just moved in got his truck stolen. And I was like, oh, did he?
Are these people that moved in, like, a couple months ago?
The frat boys that get on my nerves?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they left their bikes and they stole his truck. So Dylan was like, dude, I really want those bikes. And so he went to my mom and was like, hey, what are you going to do with those bikes? And she was like, oh, we're just going to throw them away. And he was like, no, you're not. And now they're parked in my living room.
What's he going to do with the bikes?
He's going to fix them up.
Is he actually going to ride the bike?
He says that he wants to. He wants me to go with him.
Bike riding is really fun.
So I tried to sit on one of them the other day.
Okay, so go to Walmart and get like a bigger seat, because otherwise you're going to be like bruised right in the thigh area. It's not comfortable.
Dude, my asshole was hurting.
Yeah.
It was so uncomfortable.
When me and Ram got our bikes, R.I.P., we went to Walmart and we bought like bigger seats, because the ones the bikes come with, they're just too narrow. So we got ones that are like, for girls with like, big asses, basically.
For adults who ride bikes.
Honestly though, the bike I got, because like I'm so short, I had to get like, because normally I think the wheel sizes are 26 inches, and I had to get 24. Because it's like, I couldn't even like, like when you stop and you put your feet to like straddle the bike so you're not moving, my feet wouldn't touch the ground on a 26 inch.
Dylan...
Or the tippy toes could at least.
I told Dylan if we were going to ride bikes, he had to ride the shittier one.
Oh, there's a shittier one?
There's a nice one, and then there's a shitty one.
Gotcha.
This might have been you and Ram's bikes. I don't know.
What colors are they?
Black.
Nope.
And the other one's red.
Nope. Ours were like blue and purple, I think. Something like that.
Can't even remember the bikes. Just noticed that they were gone one day.
I mean, obviously, it's like we moved here, and it's like, we've talked about before, I don't live in the best area. Where am I going to ride my bike around here?
Plenty of people do in this neighborhood.
Yeah, but they're all crackheads. I'm not going to be associated with them.
Why? You wouldn't don't brush your hair and just kind of...
Just wear a hoodie that's like 10 sizes too big.
Yeah. Wear some god-awful leggings. Mm-hmm. 2 mismatching flip-flops.
Listen to music, like, just out loud. Like, I think I saw one guy literally carrying a speaker to listen to music while he was walking. I was like... Now, it could have been cheaper just to buy headphones instead of a speaker.
Don't bring your phone. Bring, like, an old MP3 player.
A boombox.
And
have something that, like, you hook up to the back of your bike. Like a cart or, like, some kind of, like, mini trailer.
Yes, have lights on it, but they don't work and both of them are busted.
Yes. Dude. And then when you see somebody walking on the road, you stop and you ask them for money.
Yeah, or cigarettes.
Or
if they can spot you some alcohol.
Can you lend me $1? That's my favorite way somebody asks for money. Lend me $1. Let me hold $1. That's it.
Let me hold $1. Let me hold your wallet for you.
I remember one time, me and Ram were going to Whataburger, and it was kind of late at night, and Whataburger's line was like really long. And some dude comes up to our window and is like tapping on the window, and Ram like rolls it down just like an inch, and he was like, "Can I help you?" And he had like a Walmart bag full of just miscellaneous things like screws and like, I don't know, like a light bulb or something. I can't remember specifically, but it was like random odds and ends. And he was like, other people will just ask you for money, but I'm trying to make an honest dollar. So can I sell you some of this stuff?
And you should have bought some of that stuff.
Ram said, "No, we're good. We don't have any cash." And he didn't even say anything. He just looked at us and walked away while he was like looking at us.
His head turned like an owl just to keep looking.
I know. He he was like trying to be upbeat and happy when he was talking to us, and then his entire demeanor changed when Ram was like, "No, we're good." He was like, for sure, we thought he was going to come back and try to kill us or something.
That's what you get for going to Whataburger late at night.
And it's right by Walmart, too. So I was like, he stole that stuff, didn't he? Or he was digging through, like, Walmart's dumpster and was like, now this is some good stuff. I can make $1 off of this.
If there would have been a Slinky in there and you didn't buy it, I would be ashamed.
It was junk. It was, like, hardware junk. Like, a knob or a light bulb, some screws. It was...
Apparently you need some AA batteries.
Maybe he had a thermostat in there.
Maybe he did.
This was like 2 years ago, though.
That would have been perfect.
Oh my God. There was another time we went to Whataburger. This one was in Ruston, though. And it was super, like, I think we had gone to, like, the Rev or something. And the dude in the drive-thru, he was super nice. And he was like, yo, like, I got a SoundCloud. Like, give it a listen. I don't know. Some weird stuff happens at Whataburger.
So, first of all, you shouldn't be in Monroe at night.
I don't know what we were doing. Yeah, like, we don't really go to Monroe that late unless, like, we go out and do something, and I very rarely, like, go out to bars and everything, so I don't know. I don't know what we were doing.
I don't know, but that's one thing my mom, like, when I was in high school, like, I could drive and everything, she was like, you're not allowed in Monroe at night. I was like, okay.
Bet.
And then I still went to Monroe at night.
I mean, you do what you gotta do.
To buy
Speaking of
things.
Monroe at night, there's this new place opening up.
Called Monroe at night.
That's it. No. I can't remember what it's called, but it's like they sell street tacos, and they stay open until 1 a.m.
Okay, actually, not the same place. But Hannah told me that she went to one place that kind of had street tacos where the La Carcina used to be.
What?
The La Carcina.
I have no idea.
Over there by Texas Roadhouse. Like on like the same lane.
Oh, the one where
La Carcina?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Didn't it close down though?
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
So now it's like a taco stand.
That's
I think
right.
that's what she was talking about. But I do know the one you're talking about in Monroe on
Yeah. And they're gonna have like not margaritas. Are they margaritas? Yeah. I get margaritas and daiquiris confused.
I would
They're
think
gonna have
margaritas because it's a Mexican.
Yes, right. So with like 10 different flavors, and you can swirl them together.
That sounds exciting.
I just thought, like, what a great idea, because it's like right.
Yeah, because it said it's like beside Brass Monkey and everywhere.
So I was like, that's her thing. Like people.
I bet it's gonna be.
It's where that coffee place we went to, Standard Coffee.
Yeah.
It's where that used to be.
I wonder if it's gonna be like right beside Two Dudes.
It is. Or not.
Okay.
It's like
Yeah,
near
because
it,
there was like a vacant, like that lot that Two Dudes sits in. That used to be, or like the store right next to it used to be Iron Cactus.
Oh yeah.
So
is it the one that, what was it? The other, like it was another Mexican restaurant, but it closed down during COVID.
Yes, and it only lasted like.
It was a good Mexican restaurant too.
Oh, I never had it. Trevin told me that he had a good.
Yeah,
Micheladas
that's the one.
there.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was like they had like not really traditional seating. It was like couches and everything.
Yes,
cool.
I say that, but me and Chelsea went there when me and her were still friends.
It was really cool. I liked it. But no, this place is gonna be. Do you remember we went to that coffee place? We went to Two Dudes that one time. Mm-hmm. It's in that building because they moved to a different one.
Two Dudes?
No, the coffee place moved to a new building.
Okay.
And so that old building is where the new taco place is going to be.
Okay, so it's not going to... Okay.
But it's like in that area.
Yeah, it's like right across the street.
Okay. Sorry for us rambling about a restaurant.
Anyways, now we have Rotel sitting out there.
We do. I'm dreaming of that Rotel.
Do you want to have eaten before we started?
No.
And break.
We'll edit here. No. I feel like I really wanted to get this done so that way I can just like pig out, you know, and feel like I earned this.
I'm feeling a little peckish.
A little peckish. Well,
so new taco place. I don't even actually know the name of it, but I did see where it was.
I can't remember. Ram was telling me about it yesterday, so I was like, you know what? That's a pretty smart idea, because like a lot of places don't stay open that late, and you're out like at a bar or something, and you like have those midnight munchies.
Over in that area.
Yeah.
There's not
like literally, it's like Whataburger.
I don't know how late Two Dudes stays open. Probably not that late.
Probably like 11 or something.
That's what I was thinking.
Unless it's fast food, like you're really not gonna.
But you don't have any fast food over there, other than if you cross the bridge into West Monroe, you have McDonald's right there.
And McDonald's just. I like McDonald's.
I was gonna say it slaps sometimes.
McDonald's, I love to eat it, but then immediately after I eat it, I just like I can feel my skin expanding, like it doesn't even matter if I have one chicken nugget. It's like, okay. Like I can feel my pants start to shrink. Like
I like how it's the pants shrinking and not the waist getting bigger.
No, it's the thighs. Like, that's where all my stuff goes to. Straight to my thighs.
Oh.
Did anything interesting happen at work besides you using up all their paper?
No, I left work early, so I don't really know.
Oh, why'd you leave early?
I had therapy.
Oh, how was therapy? I can edit it out if you don't want to talk about it.
Therapy was fine. I was talking to my mom about it. My mom was like, so you didn't have any great breakthroughs? And I was like, no.
Not yet. It's only the second session, right?
Only second session. You're going to come along with me on my therapy trips. I should just start recording them.
Yeah.
Like, over-analyzing.
We can edit them into the podcast.
That'd be perfect.
Can we take our commercial break?
She did talk to me. It was, yeah. She did talk to me about flooding, which I had never heard, like the term flooding.
Is that anything like soaking?
No. It's not. Maybe. It depends, I guess.
Okay.
Because she was talking about like how you have like all kinds of like if you get yelled at by your boss and then like a customer talks to you in a certain way and like this pisses you off, and then you have like, you know, your friend says something or does something, and then you have like a relationship problem, and she was like, and then, you know, you get angry and like all that stuff that like you've been carrying, and you just like explode and just flood. And I was
that
like,
makes sense.
I've never heard that term before, but I like it.
I've always like referred to that as like you're just like repressing your emotions.
Bottling it up?
Yeah, bottling it up until you can't bottle up anymore.
Until you boil over. That's how I've always referred to it too, but she said flooding, so.
That's I would say maybe that's like the professional term, but that doesn't still sound that professional.
She sounded very professional when she said it.
Flooding.
I don't know. We'll have to look it up.
I believe her. I mean,
Julie, check us.
Julie sent us a message. Literally, like, Mom, whenever she was listening to our last episode, she texted me just the year. What was it? Oh god, for the Donner Party, it was like 18 something.
Oh my god, I love her. It's okay. Oh, speaking of that.
She said it was... Hold on, my phone's loading. 1846.
1846.
Yeah.
So, Olivia was listening to it on the way home.
Aww.
And she was like, it's attic, not addict. I was like...
We're talking about addicts.
Yes, and she was like, just for your correction corner. I was like, thanks, Liv. I really appreciate it.
You know, I feel like that's just one of those, like, accent things, you know?
I'm an addict.
I'm an addict and an attic. I can't tell the difference, honestly. Attic, attic. It's the same.
It's
the same.
No difference.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my
That's your correction corner. I never have any correction corners, honestly, because I don't really care to correct myself if I'm wrong. Like, if
Sam doesn't fuck up.
I'm sure
they fuck up.
If something is wrong and you're listening to this, you're gonna have to tell me, otherwise I'm not gonna correct it, because I'm not gonna go back through this stuff.
It's kind of sad, though, because we don't listen to our own podcast.
I listen to it when I edit, and that's enough. I will say, though, like, editing the podcast and listening to it back while I'm editing it has helped me, like, not be so, like, uncomfortable at hearing the sound of my own voice. Like, you know, there's that thing, like, everybody who, like, hears their own voice, like, it makes them uncomfortable on recordings. You know?
Yeah, I don't really have that problem.
No. Well, I've always had it, and I know that's something, like, a lot of people say, too, like, when they hear, like, them saying, like, their name on their voicemail or something like that. It, like, I don't know, it makes them cringe, or, like, they hate the sound of their voice. I don't hate the sound of my voice as much anymore.
Can we just talk about the fact that there's this lady? Sorry, totally off topic.
Go on.
Sidebar. There's this lady who I had to call one day about something, and so her voicemail is, "Leave me a message and I'll call you right back." And that has been my favorite.
I love it.
Voicemail I've ever listened to in my life, and I literally.
You just
call her so much that
Did she ever answer?
She did once.
Oh.
But then, like, I recorded it on my phone.
Oh my god.
So that I could have it forever because I loved it so much.
I love it. People don't do fun stuff with their voicemails anymore.
I don't even think I have a voicemail.
Mine is like, you've reached, like, it's like automated and then just my name. It's like, you've reached the number of Samantha. Oh, my last name.
Oh no!
Oh no, they're gonna get me. That's not my last name anymore, don't worry.
Yeah.
It kind of is, but...
I mean, it's something like that.
I mean, I did hyphenate it. Because I'm a modern woman.
I'm a modern woman.
And you know what? I'm just gonna go on a little soapbox here.
Okay.
It's, you know, the coolest last name in a relationship should be the one that the person takes.
I think both of y'all's last names are kind of cool.
I think mine's better.
Alright.
And that's that. That is an objective truth.
What the hell would Dylan's and I be? They're both so boring.
I know, but I think your last name sounds really classy, though.
I mean, it does sound classy, but...
I like it.
I don't like it.
Or you could do what me and Ram were gonna do, and you could just merge them, and then both of you change your names.
You were really... How?
Okuza.
That would have been really cool.
Wouldn't it
And I'm kind of mad that y'all didn't.
We were really considering it for a while, but honestly, I feel like it was just too much work. Yeah, I like having a really long name now. And also my initials, I just do like SNO. And it's like
Sun.
Yeah, snow.
You said SNO.
SNO.
Snow.
Yeah. So like when I initial stuff at work and everything, I just like the way it looks.
Me and Dylan never thought about combining our names.
Well, now you got something to think about if he ever proposes.
If he ever proposes.
There you go.
He's not going to listen to this podcast anyways, so he doesn't know.
I think Ram's listened to like 1.5 episodes.
Rude.
I know. I listen to every episode. I just mute it and I like speed it up on YouTube and then on Spotify and I like let it play in the background.
Heard. I need to start listening to them.
I don't listen to them. I just have it going to get the view.
No, I definitely need to listen to them.
You should.
I think we'd be hilarious. And I can go back and be like, do you remember what we said on episode 3?
Whenever I do listen, I'm like, yeah, we're actually pretty funny.
We're actually sort of funny.
Like, I don't know why we're not, like, getting more subscribers and more views, because this is some quality content.
I don't know why we're not making money yet.
You know, maybe one day.
I'm planning to work my freaking day job.
For real.
Over that bullshit.
I know, I like my day job, for the most part. I will say, if I ever got, like, or if we ever got, like, super rich and famous for this, I would still like to work, even if it's just part-time. Because I put a lot of fucking work into this degree and this job, so...
I like the fact that they also just hang over me and...
They watch you during the podcast.
Is it just for you to stare at them, or is it just for...
I'm just proud.
Just for it to, like, hang over my head that you're better than me? With your degrees?
No. It's okay, because I'm going to get more stuff framed, because I have my certificate for passing that test and my state certification. So that's 2 more things I'm going to get hung up. And then when I pass the next test, that's another certificate and another state certificate.
Do you think we should really put them over me? Because I almost knocked this down.
Well, I mean, it's not going to ruin the paper. And Hobby Lobby always has.
It's just going to cut me whenever I knock it down.
It'll be fine.
Mavis, are you comfortable? Okay.
Well,
anyways.
I guess, should we get to it?
Should we talk about murder?
Well, what's our theme for the week?
Didn't we say? Oh, we just said what episode.
Huh?
We just said what episode it was.
Yeah, so episode 7. Our theme is...
It's episode 6.
It's episode 6. And our theme is cult murders, or cult-related murders.
Cult murders.
Right. So, I don't know, who should go first this week?
Should we just rock, paper, scissors it? Just see.
Actually, I kind of want to go first. Can I go first?
Oh.
Because I also wrote out some stuff about cults.
You're very proud of yours. I don't know.
Was that I mean, I like mine, but I also, like, I wrote some stuff just about, like, cults in general. And I thought it'd be good to, like, introduce it.
If you want to, my dear.
Okay. Let's do it.
Says that with a slight smirk.
Well, okay, so I'll say this. Mine... Ooh, I have it folded. What did I do that? Oh, I know I did that. Okay. So, first things first. Because we were kind of talking about this when we decided, like, we were going to do, like, cult-related murders. Like, what really makes a cult, you know? Like, what's the definition? So I looked some stuff up. Because I was curious. Because I remember in school, I think it was in some kind of, it was either my sociology class or cultural geography. It had to be one of those two. We were talking about religion. And they pretty much talking about cults, and it was like anything that is more new, and it brings, like, I don't know. I just remember it's like being like a religion that was more new means that it's a cult. Like, there was more to the definition. So I was like, I wonder if I can find the definition. I couldn't really find it. But I found this that says, a cult is a particular system of religious worship, especially with reference to its rites and ceremonies. So that's one definition I found. And it's a pretty wide-ranging definition, and pretty much just means, like, any religious group can be considered a cult. So it's pretty vague. Christians specifically say that a cult is a religious group that denies one or more of the fundamentals of biblical truth. So if you're going against the Bible, preaching against the Bible, that means you're a cult.
Am I technically a cult leader then?
But you don't have, like, a following.
Technically I do, and it's this podcast.
But are we really, like, preaching stuff? I guess a little bit.
Maybe.
Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe we're a little culty.
And then another one says, like, a cult holds views that are unorthodox, and it claims to be part of religion, yet denies essential truths of that religion. So there's a couple of that. And I also found this one article that says that there's like 4 dimensions to a cultic group that you usually see. So number 1, you have a charismatic leader.
Oh,
you know,
perfect.
You always know that. The person who creates the group, they lead people, they manipulate them, they're super charming. You know the type.
Yeah.
You know? Number 2, it has to have a transcendent belief system. So it says most religions and even political groups are going to have a transcendent belief system, meaning they're stating how to get to some better place.
Okay.
But what's different in cult groups is that they have their way to get you there. In order to be part of the group, you have to go through a transformational process, which they dictate to you, and you can't be there otherwise. So it's like in order to get to this higher order, to heaven, whatever, you got to do things our way, basically. Third part is they have these systems of control. They think they're joining something that is going to give them purpose and meaning. So that's how a lot of people get into cults. You want to belong, give yourself meaning. That's how people get into religion in general.
This just reminds me of the Nexium.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, it's a cult.
Oh.
It's actually a cult that I watched not too long ago, the Nexium cult, which is very interesting and you should watch it.
I find cults fascinating.
I mean, I do too, but they, like, literally everything you just said, they had, like, the initialization, like, they had to do, like, they were branded.
Mm-hmm.
All the women were branded. Mm-hmm. Not tattooed, branded.
I feel like, I cannot imagine how painful that must be.
Yeah, I mean, and it's literally, what's even crazier, though, is that it wasn't, like, just, like, a simple, like, branding, like, of, like a whatever, like a cowboy hat or something like that. Oh, yeah. It was the main leader's initials. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But anyways, continue. Sorry.
I messed up.
Nexium.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, systems of control. So if you're gonna join, you have to, or you think by joining that, it's gonna give you some kind of purpose or meaning. They'll slowly, like, get you into it by, like, having you go through some of the rituals, study sessions, and they're going to draw you more and more in. And soon the person in the cult who joins it are going to start adopting their new, like, world views that requires new behaviors, which most often requires cutting off from the past. This is when a lot of people, like, cut off from their families, they don't speak to them anymore kind of deal. Also, even simple things like how you dress, getting branded, they're gonna, like, somehow, like, identify you as part of the cult.
So kind of like Pentecostals?
With, like, the long hair and the skirts?
Yeah, you're not allowed to wear makeup.
Oh, are they really not? I don't know. Pentecostals, I'd be interested to learn more about them. I don't know a whole lot, honestly.
I know you're not allowed to wear makeup, the skirts, hair. Mm-hmm. I should know more. I was friends with one for a very long time.
I just always remember seeing them in school, and I'd be like, you look sad.
I call them pennies.
Pennies.
Personally. I like them pennies running around.
And then the last part of, like, what makes a cult is called systems of influence. This says that these are, like, the more subtle influences, which is, like, peer pressure. You have older members who are going to model, like, how you're supposed to act for the newer members and how they're supposed to behave. And it says, like, before you know it, you're so enveloped into this other reality that you don't look at anything else. You don't allow yourself to be opened up to any other explanations. Your mind is completely closed in on its world view. So the connection to the belief system is the glue that keeps you part of the cult. So that's how I really looked up, because I was kind of like, basically, my murder has to do with the Mormon religion.
Dun, dun, dun.
And I was like, I kept thinking, I was like, is it a cult? And so I was like, well, let me kind of look it up. And a lot of articles were saying, yes, it's a cult. And then some were like, from the Mormon website, they're like, no, we're not.
You know what's funny, though, is that, like, I had to, like, view mine to make sure, like, it was a cult. Mm-hmm. And so, like, I also did, like, the same thing. I was, like, looking at, like, different, like, passages. And I was like, is this a cult? Like, am I 100% sure?
And that's how they get you.
True. Because then I was, like, looking it up, and it was, like, 17 of the worst cults in America. And I was like, oh, okay.
So I'll take that as a yes. But, so, in my opinion, I do think the Mormon religion is a cult. So, Hopefully Ramsey's family never listens to this.
They do.
Anyway.
You're all in a cult. Get out.
So, my story, or I guess not my religion, my murder story starts with two guys, Ron and Dan Lafferty.
I really thought you were going to say Ron Weasley.
No, not him. As far as I know, he's not in a cult. So they grew up in a family of 6 boys and 2 girls, so I think that's pretty common for Mormon families. They have, like, big families,
Tons of children.
Yes. So, their father was a stern disciplinarian, and he was seized with a quiet rage he sometimes directed towards his wife and his pets.
Aww.
They didn't really elaborate any more on that, but... Oh, no, they do.
Oh, no.
After one spat with his wife, he beat the family dog to death with a baseball bat.
Stop! You could have kept that out.
I didn't read that part. Like, I have no memory of reading that, and I feel like I should cry right now.
No, we're gonna have to edit this out now.
No, I'm leaving it in. If I gotta feel that emotion, so do other people. But I can also assume that means he probably beat his wife at some point, or multiple times too. Since it said,
no, the wife and the dog.
Same. Okay.
Poor Wigwig, close your ears.
I know. So, in his sons, Watson Lafferty, I guess that's the dad, planted the seeds of paranoia, rebellion, and fanaticism. He taught his 2 sons, the 2 sons that we're talking about, because of course there's like apparently like 20 others, and then 2 daughters. So he planted the seeds of paranoia, rebellion, and fanaticism. He taught the boys to distrust conventional medicine and the federal government. Okay. I can almost understand the government a little bit, but conventional medicine, like you're just asking to die. Like, just take some freaking...
Take some Advil, call me in the morning.
Take some Advil, take some Benadryl, you got your allergies, you'll be fine. Like, whatever. He also took his religious beliefs to the extreme. When one son accidentally shot himself in the stomach with an arrow, he told them he would have to suffer until the morning for breaking the Sabbath. So, yeah.
And how are they going to not make him suffer if they didn't believe in conventional medication?
I don't know. I guess they weren't going to take it out of him. That's what I'm picturing. Like, he shot himself in the arrow, and they were like, well, it's going to stay there until the morning.
But I'm saying,
I think Sabbath is like, it's Sunday, right? And nobody's supposed to do anything.
Yeah, but my thing is like, okay, so like that next day after that, like, how are they going to how are they going to care for it?
I don't know. Like, maybe for extreme stuff, they did go to, like, the hospital. I would hope so. Like, you see, like, your son, like, I don't know. Also, I don't know if, like, the arrow went all the way through or if it just kind of spoke in his stomach a little bit. I don't know.
I just worked it out.
Maybe they made him leave it in.
Well, I mean, they say you're not, like, if you get stabbed with a knife, like, don't take it out.
Yeah.
But
also, I feel like overnight, like, it probably got infected or something. Like,
that's one of my things was just, like, take it out.
Yeah, I don't know. So,
gangrene sitting up in that?
For real. So, Ron and Dan, the 2 brothers, became best friends. They were known for their short temper, which obviously they inherited from their father, and their willingness to back each other in a fight. So if one of them was getting into a scuffle, the other one's going to be like, I got your back, and would, help with whatever fight. Yeah. As they grew older, they took after their father in other ways too. So, this is so gross. I forgot about this part. Instead of buying baby food, because not that baby food's a medicine, but obviously there's a lot of distrust and regulated stuff, I guess.
FDA approved stuff.
Yeah. So instead of buying baby food, Dan would chew the food in his mouth into mush and then spit it into the mouths of his children for them to eat.
Oh, it's like a baby bird sequence.
Dan also later refused to pay taxes or obey traffic laws.
Isn't that a normal thing in Mormonism though?
Is it?
I feel like it is.
To just
they
not
have
pay
their
taxes?
own towns.
I mean...
Wait, why are you so shooketh?
They don't have their own town. I mean, they...
Yes, they do. In Utah, they have, they don't use, electricity and everything.
I think you're thinking of the Amish.
You're so right. You're so right. You're so right.
Okay.
My bad.
The Mormons. Anyway.
Sorry, different cult.
Yeah. Which we'll have to talk about Amish one day, because I really don't know what they believe.
I don't either.
Whatever. So, yeah. So, he would shoot the food, spit in through mouths because he didn't want to buy baby food.
Okay.
And he didn't pay taxes or obey traffic laws because he believed that He was above the laws of man. Okay. In 1982, the LDS Church, Latter-day Saints, because apparently, I think me and Ram told you this, like, they don't call themselves Mormons anymore. They go by Church of Latter-day Saints with such a mouthful. Whatever. But the church excommunicated Dan.
Ooh.
What do you think they excommunicated him for?
Divorce?
No. For trying to take his 14-year-old stepdaughter as his second wife.
That's what the big deal was?
That's a totally big deal, though.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, I feel like they would be the people that'd be like, oh, you want another wife? Take it.
Well, I feel
Maybe not 14.
I don't know when they stopped polygamy, but I'm pretty sure they haven't done that for quite. I mean, there's still certain like factions of Mormonism.
Wait, so what is sister wives then? What?
I think they're Mormon too. Like I said, there's certain factions.
Oh, okay.
And usually, from what Ram told me, they're looked down upon, like within the church. Like they are like they're their own. They're built different.
It's like Christians, but like with non-denominational.
Yeah. They're like, I mean, I guess you believe in some of the same stuff as us, but we don't want you to be associated.
We don't associate.
Yes. So, but yeah, he wanted to take his 14-year-old stepdaughter as his second wife. Dan told his brothers they were the true leaders of God's church, and they believed him, letting their beards and hair grow long like biblical prophets. The 6 boys were now spending more time with their brothers, railing against the LDS Church and the U.S. government.
Hell yeah.
They were spending more time doing all that stuff than they were with their own wives and children. So they were kind of forming like their own like cult within a cult. That's what it seems, you know? So Ron's wife pretty much was like, put her foot down and was like, you know what? We're not going to practice polygamy. And he was like, no, we're going to practice polygamy. So she left him. Understandable. Have a nice day. He began a steady descent into madness, and he spent his days and nights in Old Orem, in an Old Orem home the brothers called the farm.
Wait, but what is Magnus?
Magnus?
Madness.
Oh, madness?
Yes, I'm so sorry. My ears are stopped up.
No, you're good. They said
like, what is madness?
He descends into madness.
Madness, okay.
Yes. And he spent many nights in the farm writing what he believed would one day be read as scripture.
Okay.
So, he was super upset about his wife leaving him, and that soon went from being sad and upset to now being rageful. And he channeled it specifically onto 3 people. A woman named Chloe Lowe, who is a former Mormon Relief Society president, who supported his wife during the divorce. She was like, understandable, you don't want to be a polygamist. You're good, we support you. Like, you're still within the church. I don't think they, like, excommunicate people.
I know Catholics do.
Yeah. Well, it's like one of those things in, like, Catholicism, like, you can get your divorce annulled, and then you're good. I don't know the difference between annulment and divorce, though.
A lot of states, like, I know in the state of Louisiana, we don't... You have to have a divorce. Mm-hmm. We don't recognize annulments anymore.
Well, good.
So you have to be divorced if you're going to be divorced, quote unquote.
If you're going to be separated legally, it has to be a divorce.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough. So Chloe Lowe was one of them who was part of the church supporting his wife during the divorce. A guy named Richard Stow, who was the Highland Mormon stake president. There's all these different kind of presidents who had presided over his excommunication. And Brenda Wright Lafferty, the wife of his youngest brother Alan, who apparently was very like strong-willed. So she was also probably another one who was like, I'm not cool with like the stuff you guys are doing. Like, yeah. Brenda was different than the rest of the women that his brothers had married. She was a former beauty queen and a college graduate. She had a lot of confidence that allowed her to speak up when others were quiet. She absolutely did not believe that Dan or Ron were prophets like they claimed to be. And she would tell them that. She would call them out on their BS and be like, you're not a prophet, dude. Like,
sit down.
Like,
nobody wants to hear from you.
Simmer down. You're not a prophet. Like, chill out. When Brenda stopped Alan from joining a group called the School of Prophets with his brothers, Ron, like, was pissed off. First, she had driven away his wife, and now she is splitting up the brothers, is what he said. So, in March of 1984, Ron recorded on a yellow legal pad what would come to be known as the removal revelation. I feel like I can't read today.
Apparently I can't hear, so
perfect. Yeah. So he wrote on a legal pad something that's going to be known as the removal revelation, and he shared it with the school prophets to the alarm of his members, because this is what it said. This is a direct quote. Thus saith the Lord unto my servants the prophets, it is my will and commandment that ye remove the following individuals in order that my work might go forward. For they have truly become obstacles in my path, and I will not allow my work to be stopped. First, thy brother's wife Brenda and her baby, then Chloe Lowe, and then Richard Stowe. And it is my will that they will be removed in rapid succession.
Ooh.
So, don't know what the hell the baby did to be added into that list.
Just alive.
But okay.
Wrong place, wrong time.
On the afternoon of July 24th, 1984, Ron, who was 44 years old at the time, and Dan, who was 36 at the time, set out to fulfill what he had written on that legal pad. So, in a battered green station wagon, they drove to Alan and Brenda's house, carrying with them a sawed-off shotgun, a .30-30 Winchester, and a .27 deer rifle, and 2 pearl-handled knives. So they were packed and ready to go.
They're out for blood.
Yes. However, they would only use the knives for what they were.
Seriously out for blood.
So here's what they did. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about the actual murder, because there's some quotes directly from, I think, Dan, where he talks about it. But just, this is what he did, or what they did. They slashed the throats of the sister-in-law Brenda and her 15-month-old daughter Erica. So, but we'll get more into like the details about it. So Dan represented himself during his trial, although he did have access to a standby counsel, but he was like, no, it's okay, I got this, like, I'll be my own lawyer.
It always works out.
Yeah, of course. The jury trial resulted in a guilty verdict, and he was sentenced to 2 life sentences to be served concurrently without the possibility of parole. Ron, before he went to court, attempted suicide. Okay. This resulted in severe injury and mental damages following the suicide attempt. He was then held at the state hospital for several months, and Ron was eventually found okay enough to stand trial by the doctors at the hospital. So he was tried in 1985 and convicted and sentenced to death. So,
I guess he got his wish.
I guess so. The penalty was upheld after an appeal to the Utah Supreme Court, and the United States Supreme Court rejected any further appeal. So it went to the Utah Supreme Court, and they were like, okay, I guess you have a valid point. You killed a baby and your sister-in-law. We'll let you appeal this. The Supreme Court said no. Absolutely not. So 3 years later, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to edit a bunch of stuff out because, like, I just wrote so much. Alright. So apparently, then Ron tried to, like, appeal his execution, but the court was like, nope. And so they let him choose, you know, obviously you could choose, like, of the options. I guess he had a choice, and he chose firing squad. However, never happened because he actually ended up dying of natural causes in prison in 2019.
Wow, okay.
Which is a long time from, like, getting convicted. That's just, it's so weird. Like, I think we talked about this before, like, how death penalty works. Like, you just sit in prison for, like, decades sometimes before you even, like, I don't know why they wait that long. Is it some kind of, like, mental torture, or, like, or does it just take that long?
I don't know. Like, I don't know.
It's weird to think about. So Ron's dead. He kicked the bucket. Dan is obviously still in prison. He spends his days in the maximum security wing of the Utah State Prison. And he was, like, recently interviewed. And he talks about the murders of his sister-in-law and his niece. as they quote, as if it were a surgeon recounting a medical procedure. So he said he does claim responsibility for both murders, although Ron, who is on death row at the time that interviewed this, was convicted of killing Brenda and sentenced to die because he was the one who came up with the whole murder plot. So that's why he got a harsher sentence. A direct quote from Dan says, "It never haunted me, it's never bothered me. I don't blame anyone for not understanding it, but if you had done it, it wouldn't haunt you either. It was just a strange phenomenon."
Okay.
Yeah. Dan said he and his brother were led by God to beat Brenda unconscious, wrap a vacuum cord around her neck until she went limp, and then slit her throat. Brenda, by the way, was only 24 years old, so she was like...
She was a babe.
She was like our age, essentially. Dan said, "I held Brenda's hair and did it pretty much the way they did it in scriptures. Then I don't know what that means, honestly. And then I walked into Erica's room. I talked to her for a minute. I said, I'm not sure why I'm supposed to do this, but I guess God wants you home." He then looked away as he slit the 15-month-old baby's throat. He said, "I'd like to think she didn't suffer. It probably should draw more sympathy than it does, but I don't let it." Dan doesn't think he will die in prison. This is where it gets like even weirder. He believes the walls will crumble and he will emerge as the biblical prophet Elijah announcing the second coming of Jesus Christ.
All right.
Yeah. He also said, "I don't feel comfortable saying I know I'm Elijah, but I'd be pretty surprised if I'm not." Isn't that just the icing on the cake?
Me too, dude.
God.
No, it's Elijah. Thank you, though.
So funny. Dan also says that he never talked to Alan about how he murdered his wife and daughter, but that his mom had told him that Alan once asked her, like, why I wouldn't repent for my sins. And Dan said, "There's some things you can't repent for. I'm sure Alan thought I was talking about an unpardonable sin. What I meant is you don't repent for things that aren't wrong." And that is the story of the two Mormon brothers who killed their sister-in-law and niece.
All right.
Yeah. So I got a little choppy there, but hopefully I can edit it to sound a little better.
Okay. I mean, he is Elijah, so he's coming back.
So,
maybe.
I'm not saying I'm the prophet Elijah, but...
I'm not saying I'm like the main man, but...
If I'm not, I will be so surprised. We're going to talk about Chloe's murder.
Yes. Also, I didn't do research, but somebody else did research about how I was talking about the Villisca X murder houses. Mm-hmm. So apparently from like 1970s all the way to almost the 90s, there actually was a trail of axe murders.
What?
Yes, that happened like all over the United States.
I would say my mom was telling me about one, which I remember, and it was really similar to the one you were telling me about. Where it was like there was like cigarettes in the attic, and I can't remember what it was called. But
like the axe, like the Louisiana Axeman, or New Orleans, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Axeman, like that's another one that the axe was found.
The axe murders.
Yeah, I mean the axe was found like after it had been used, like no trace of who did it. There's so many theories on it.
Maybe it's the same man.
Maybe it is. Maybe it was one man instead of two. But that's just what I've heard about that, and I was like, holy crap, I didn't do that much research into that, apparently.
You know, we'll get better at this when we get more followers.
Yeah.
When we get enough money to hire somebody to like do the research for us and just give us a print off.
Yeah, or at least if they could just edit for us and we could call it a day.
That'd be nice, yeah.
Yeah. So we need a Steven.
We need a Steven, we do.
Ramses.
I mean, Ram has the mustache.
Ramses is failing at his job.
Hey, if we made enough money, I'll totally hire him to be like our sound engineer.
To be fair.
Anyways,
mine is on the Vampire King.
Ooh, that sounds cool. Also very like in theme for Halloween and stuff.
I didn't think about that. Oh yeah, that starts tomorrow.
It does. Tomorrow's Halloween month.
Tomorrow is the beginning of Halloween. And I have to listen to Halloween music all day. I don't have to, but that's just what I do.
That's because you want to.
Yeah.
Can't blame you.
So this is a story of the Vampire King, Marcus Wesson. Born on August 22nd, 1946 in Kansas, he was the eldest of 4 children. His mother, Carrie, was a religious fanatic in the Seventh-day Adventist Church.
Alright.
And his father was an alcoholic who physically and sexually abused his children and abandoned them for an incestuous relationship with his male cousin when Marcus was a boy, and returned a decade later, acting like nothing had happened.
Can you... The audacity to just go off, have an incestuous relationship...
With your cousin.
With your cousin.
Your male cousin at that.
Yeah. And then comes back and it's like, I don't know what y'all are talking about.
Yes. I don't even know, dude. But Marcus was teased in school. He was always wearing like dress pants and like a jacket and a tie, and it was just another way for like his parents to control him, because he again was in a very controlling family. In adolescence, he never did any kind of drugs, drank, anything like that. He was obsessed with trains. I'm sorry, I almost said planes. He was obsessed with trains, like to the point like where he had multiple like train sets and everything. And his favorite thing to do was play preaching. He always wanted to be like center of attention. They said that he was average intelligence. He just like had eccentric word usage.
Okay.
Like how preachers do, like with their big words. He actually did not graduate high school. He dropped out when he was 17 and joined something I have it written down right here. He just joined the military. Okay.
That's where I thought that was going.
Yeah, sorry. I thought I had what he joined, but I guess I didn't write that down. He joined the military. Where he was a medic or an ambulance driver? Kind of differs. He left the military with an honorable discharge and settled in San Jose, California. There he met Rosemary Matorina.
Okay.
A woman 13 years his senior who had 8 children from previous relationships. And Marcus seemed eager to take on this big family since he believed they needed a shepherd to guide them.
This is getting a little culty.
It's never a good sign. The two soon had a son together. At one point, one of Matarina's, I'm just going to call her May, one of May's older daughters, who was also named Rosemary, was struggling with a drug addiction, dropped off her 7 children.
Oh my God.
Bringing the total number of children in the household to 16.
Wow, that's almost enough for 2 baseball teams, right? You have to have 9 people per team?
Yeah, I guess if you include the parents, you have plenty.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Okay, they can play their own little league.
Their own little league. So, but it was May's 8-year-old daughter, Elizabeth, that Marcus was infatuated with. He claimed that God had told him that Elizabeth was his wife, and he held a home marriage ceremony to the child. He then took her out of school to begin personally teaching her. When Elizabeth was 12, he began sexually assaulting her. Shockingly, May had no reaction to protect her daughter. Instead, she merely insisted that they wait until Elizabeth was of legal age, 15, to get married. But at 14, Elizabeth became pregnant with Marcus's baby, and the two were wed as soon as she was of legal age to marry. Marcus would go on to father 10 more children with her before she reached the age of 26.
How many babies? Is that what? I'm stunned.
Yeah.
That's 10 babies in
4 year
10 years, basically. A little bit over 10 years.
More, because she was 14. Yes.
That's like a baby a year.
So many people wonder why May didn't protect her children. It was because she was so obedient to him and so brainwashed to him. And so she was, she just followed whatever he did because he was the shepherd leading the pack. Yes. So, and after a while, he had the children call him Master and Lord. And he actually changed his name to, give me one second, I wrote it down.
Please tell me it's something super ridiculous.
Javon Marcus Spire, which is a combination of Jesus, Marcus, and vampire.
And then
vampires.
he changed it to Edward Cullen.
And then he changed it to Edward Cullen. This is actually just a story of the Cullen family.
You're right.
He was a brutal abuser, beating the women and children with electrical cords, baseball bats, and his fist for the slightest transgression. And actually, like, one of the sons went on record later to say that one time he asked Marcus if he could eat something, and Marcus beat him for 30 days straight.
Why? The dude was hungry. He was peckish. Leave him alone.
Yes, for 30 days straight. And one of the daughters recalled Marcus beating their 1-month-old infant, Jonathan, until his legs bled because he wouldn't stop crying.
How is that? That baby's lucky that it lived, honestly. That's so sad.
I know. Because he believed the world was full of sin, he isolated the family and forbade them to have any contact with outsiders. All the children were homeschooled. And then it says, once when Sophina, one of his children, tried to leave, he actually stabbed her in the chest.
Oh my God.
Yes. But with the homeschooling, so Elizabeth dropped out of school when she was in 8th grade because she was pregnant with their, I think, second child at that time.
Okay.
In 8th grade.
Wild.
But, so all the, older kids that had went to school and then were being homeschooled were actually trying to teach the younger kids. With old textbooks and flashcards, and some of the children
kicked, huh?
Well, some of the children don't even or didn't even know how to read or write.
That's so sad.
Yeah. So, he also moved them around a lot because he didn't want anybody catching on to what they were doing. They once lived in a rusted-out tugboat with no electricity or running water, where Marcus made the entire family stay below deck so they wouldn't be seen. When he would go to the shore, he made the women row his raft, and then for the better part of 12 years, they lived in an old army tent. They even lived in a school bus for a while, moving up and down the California coast before purchasing an old office building on Hammond Avenue. The day in the life inside the Wesson household followed the playbook of each Arthurian cult. Each day, 3 times a day, Marcus got to play preacher in real life, subjecting the family to hours-long Bible studies. They were based on his own hodgepodge of religious beliefs, including that he was God and that Jesus Christ was a vampire.
I mean, no comment, I guess.
Yeah. Unsurprisingly, he was fascinated and felt a kinship with fellow cult leader David Koresh. During the 1993 siege of the compound in Waco, Marcus was glued to the TV. He told his family, "This man is just like me. He is making children for the Lord." And like Koresh, Marcus had a deep hatred of law enforcement. He even mandated a suicide pact. If any government official ever tried to take the children away or split up the family, the mothers were to kill their children and then themselves.
Are you kidding me?
He held monthly family meetings to discuss the details of the plan.
Monthly meetings? Oh my God, I just registered that. Can you imagine?
Yes.
Family meeting, guys. Here's what's going to happen.
He believed very heavily in Armageddon. That Armageddon was coming. And that they needed to be prepared.
Well, what's there to prepare?
We didn't find out.
Oh God.
So it is hard to express how completely Marcus controlled everyday aspects of the family lives. The women and girls were especially subjugated. They had to dress in long skirts and headscarves, walk behind him, and remain silent in public. They were forbidden to talk with men under punishment of beating. Even their own brothers and cousins were segregated away from them, lest they developed sexual feelings for other men. Their lives were filled with unending labor. They were responsible for taking care of the children, as well as all the cleaning and cooking, even when there was no running water or electricity. They were also expected to wait on Marcus hand and foot, washing his massive dreadlocks and even scratching his armpits.
Ew.
Yes.
What kind of power trip is that dude on? I mean, obviously a big one.
obvious. I mean, he is actually a big man. Like, his dreadlocks actually go, like, at his waist. And he's, like, 300 pounds.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. That was even at the time of his arrest. In addition, anybody who was old enough to work outside of the home had to work outside of the home, and whenever they would get paid, they had to hand over their wages to Marcus.
Of course.
Marcus refused to work.
I was going to say, I bet he did not do a single thing.
No, he lived off of welfare, which at times made the family home, like, the food source was, like, very scarce.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some of the kids can recall only eating, like, rice for dinner, while this man was 300 pounds and eating fast food every 5 minutes.
Of course.
As soon as the girls in his family, including his nieces and daughters, reached the age of 8, Marcus began what he called loving. He would begin by fondling them in their beds at night, then move to outright sexual assault in order to teach them to be better women. And then he would marry each of them in his own ceremony, where the girl would lay her hand on the Bible and Marcus would lay his hand over hers while they recited marriage vows. Then Marcus would give the girl a gold wedding band and a necklace. Marcus went on to father 7 more children by his nieces and daughters. In his twisted beliefs of polygamy was mandatory and incest provides the seeds of perfection of oneself.
Wow.
Yes.
What happened to the kid who liked trains?
Right.
Like, that sounded sweet when you first told that. I was like, aw. Reminds me of, like, the kids I work with. A lot of kids with autism really like trains, apparently. But no, this dude turns out to be a sick freak.
Well, that's about to give you what's better. Okay, so 2 of his nieces, Ruby and Safina, wanted out. Marcus eventually agreed that they could go, but only if they left their children, Jonathan and Aviv, behind. Desperate to escape, they agreed. But as they adjusted to the world outside of Marcus's tight control, they started to understand what he did to them and what he was still doing to the rest of the family. So on March 12th, 2004, they gathered several relatives for support and went back to the Wesson home to rescue their children.
I'm sorry, what relatives weren't part of the cult?
Apparently, I don't know. Because he fathered all of them.
For real. Like, this is like the 7th generation by the time they got to them. Good Lord.
So, yeah, the children, both of their children were now 7 years old. That's when the shouting match broke out. Marcus remained calm but refused to let Ruby or Safina come inside the house to get their children. The women of the household shouted at them, calling them Judas, whores, and bitches, and commanding them to bow down to their master. As for Ruby and Safina, they knew that they had to get their children out of the house immediately. They were aware of the suicide pact the family had made. Yet when the police arrived, they ignored the women's pleas that he was going to hurt the children, as well as one of Marcus's sons telling them that his father owned a gun. Their warnings weren't considered enough evidence of a threat to the children's safety for them to force entry to the house. And when shots rang out, the police said that they did not hear them, although many neighbors, including those still inside their homes, did. Yes. And
what the hell was the police problem? Like, why did they want to intervene?
I guess because there just wasn't, like, when they spoke to Marcus, he also had, like, a super cool demeanor. Like, nothing was going on in the house.
Like, I feel like even that was, like, what, in the 90s when this happened? At this point?
This is in 2004.
Oh, shit. The early 2000s. Like, I just feel like you'd be like, wow, there's a lot of fucking people in your house. Maybe we should investigate. Like,
apparently not.
Oh, my God. At least do a wellness check.
This case was the worst mass murder case in Fresno history. When the police entered, there was bodies, like, stacked on top of bodies. So, yes, after the gunshots rung out and everything, Wesson exited the home because he was supposedly... okay, I'm sorry, I'm getting confused. So, when the shots rung out, there was like a silent pause and everything, and Wesson walks out like covered in blood. So police arrest him because obviously he's covered in blood and they just heard gunshots.
Okay. So they heard those gunshots, but not the others.
No, they didn't hear the gunshots in general, but they obviously see a man bloody walk out. So, as he surrenders to the arresting officers rush inside the house. Inside, despite the sunny afternoon, the building is dark and silent. Against one wall, several coffins are stacked up. They then enter a back room. Inside, covered in blood, is a pile of bodies, some of which are children. Aww. Each had been shot through the eye. Because they were in such a tangle, it would have taken many hours before the police could even determine how many victims there were. And it took them several days because it was a bloodbath.
Oh, that's so depressing.
So Sabrina is actually like known to be the killer, one of his wives. Mm-hmm. So Sabrina, 25, Elizabeth, 17, Illabella, age 8, Aviv, age 7, Jonathan, age 7, Sidonia, age 2, Marche, age 2, Ethan, age 4, and Jiva, age 1. Mm-hmm. These are all the people that he didn't kill them. See, Sabrina killed them, but of course he went on trial for facilitating a cult. Yeah. And so he was charged with 9 counts of first-degree murder and 14 counts of molestation and rape. As members of his family testified, many of whom were still loyal to him, the jury came to learn of the horrors Marcus had inflicted on his family. Marcus's defense was to claim that he didn't kill anyone, that Sabrina had pulled the trigger, murdering the children and then herself. That evidence was inconclusive.
I would say in no way.
There were no prints on the gun, but her DNA was. Her body was on top of all the others, and the murder weapon, a .22 Ruger, was found underneath her. However, it is not known if she lay where she fell or was placed there. And the same could be said about the gun. The gunshot wound in her head was inconclusive as well. While consistent with a self-inflicted wound, a shot at close range couldn't be ruled out either. So, of course, Ruby and Safina's testimony showed that Marcus had complete control over their family and that he'd commanded them to commit this act if the police ever tried to interfere, the whole suicide pact. In the end, it didn't matter to the jury who actually pulled the trigger. Marcus Weston was found guilty on all accounts, and on June 27, 2005, he was sentenced to 102 years for the rape and molestation charges. For the murder of his children and grandchildren, he received the death penalty. He was sent to San Quentin Prison, the nation's largest death row. Mm-hmm. There he would be in the company of such infamous murderers and other people that I don't know how to say the name. Mm-hmm. In March of this year,
oh my gosh,
California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a moratorium on the death penalty, sparing Marcus Weston's life.
No.
But he will never be eligible for parole.
Dude, if anybody deserves to die, that dude's in like at least the top 5, right?
Yeah, but it does say that the surviving children actually have gotten like some serious help for it and everything.
I really hope so.
And
there were some young ones in there, so
yeah,
you know.
And so like they don't talk to him, but apparently they're still a very like close-knit family and everything.
That's crazy.
So while he technically didn't pull the trigger, he was the vampire king.
100% believe that he didn't. You know?
Yeah.
Which
there's like apparently like he even at one point he tried to get a book published of his manifesto.
No. While he was in jail or before?
Before.
Okay.
It was called...
Penguin Publishing had to deny that.
Most definitely. This was in 2002, so it was 2 years before the murder. But it was called In the Night of the Light for the Dark.
In the night, wait, say it one more time.
In the Night of the Light for the Dark.
That sounds like somebody's like fan fiction they wrote on like AO3 at like midnight while they're 12 years old or something.
Yeah. And so, that was just literally like all of his like beliefs and everything, which goes on to explain like more of like his vampirism and everything. Like he had to drink the blood to stay young. Dude. And he had to have all these wives and to carry on the bloodline.
Like I thought it was a lot whenever you're like, okay, like the main chick he married at first, like she had 8 kids, and then they had like, what, 7 more? And I was like, that's a lot of kids, and they just kept coming.
And they just kept going.
Oh, did it say like how many people in total lived in that family at any point?
I mean, just before it was 16, and then he
kept
had
growing and growing.
He had 10 more kids. With just one of them.
That one girl, right?
26.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so that's 26.
I feel like, yeah.
And then I mean, it literally just keeps going. Between like his nieces and
I mean, he was molesting and
nephews.
raping all of them, so.
Yeah, and his children and his quote unquote like grandchildren and just all that. Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
That's
the story of Marcus
I never
Leslie.
heard that one before.
I just happened to look him up and the Vampire King caught my attention.
I understand why. That would catch my attention too. Well, damn.
So yeah.
That was you said that one was short. That was not short. I liked it though.
Sorry, it felt short just because...
No, that one was like the perfect length, so.
The perfect length is crazy.
Yeah, because it just kept going. Like, I was like... Well,
so it's ever going to end?
Not that it's ever going to end, but I was just like, okay, like, this thing happened, and I was like, okay, now he's going to kill someone, but then more shit, like, kept happening.
And he never actually even pulled the trigger.
Allegedly. So, wait, no, okay, that's what happened to Sabrina, but she killed herself, right?
She, quote-unquote, killed herself,
okay.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So, those were our murders.
Those were our murders.
They were some good murders this week. I'm proud of those murders.
We have to come up with a name.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's up to you. You're the one who comes up with the names.
I'm name corner.
You are. I don't know. Cult of... I don't know. Oh, sorry, I'm like clicking my pen.
Cult of the damned.
Cult of the... Or what was that? It's like that phrase, like cult of personality. I don't know. You'll figure it out. We'll eat some Rotel dip. We'll marinate on it.
I love when you say marinate. It cracks me up.
Marinate on it. Eat some Rotel dip. Maybe make some Halloween cookies.
Yeah. Alright, well, that's good. What's your one good thing for this week?
Oh, are we doing that?
We can, because...
Do you feel depressed?
That was a lot to take on, honestly. I hadn't, like, read it out loud yet, and so that was a lot to take on.
Let's see. What's one good thing that happened this week to me? Wow. The silence is so... really tells you a lot, huh? I honestly, I don't know. I can't think of a single good thing that happened to me this week.
Not the sun shining in.
No. I mean, this week's been okay. I'm still training at work and everything and learning stuff. Oh yeah, I got my state certification approved.
See, that's one good thing.
That is a good thing. It got approved on Tuesday. I don't know if I told like all the shit I had to do to get that. Like literally, before I went on vacation, me and Ram had to drive to Baton Rouge and then come like right back the next day. And then leave for a flight that next day, like the day after that. Like, because we had to drive to Baton Rouge to turn everything in. And when we got there, they're like, oh, you need to get this notarized. And I was like, I have to what? So then we had to take the application back, go find a notary, get it notarized, and then bring it back. And then I also had to get a background check at the state police headquarters.
Damn.
And then I had to get like a cashier's check or a money order. I can't remember which one. We had to do a lot of stuff to turn this in. And then it was like all due by like a certain date. And then they like messaged me, or my boss messaged me while I was on vacation, was like, hey, you forgot this form. I was like, that form wasn't in the freaking application, but okay. So then she had to email me the form, and I had to sign it, and then I had to send it back to her. And yeah, long story short, I'm now state certified. I'm now a state certified I'm a board certified assistant behavior analyst and a state certified behavior analyst.
That's cool. Why didn't you want to get a job at the FBI?
I probably could, but I focus in like children, so.
There's definitely plenty of children serial killers.
I mean, I don't know. Gotta see if I'm good enough for the job first. Anyway, what's something that made you happy this week?
Tomorrow's Friday. That makes me happy.
Yeah.
And it's October 1st, which means it's Halloween 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I had strawberry cake this week.
That's pretty good too.
Yeah, I'm kind of just down now.
It's just kind of been a blah week, honestly.
Yeah, nothing has been that exciting.
Not really. And I've just been so tired this week too. Like I've taken like 2 or 3 naps this week, and I used to nap a lot when I was younger. But like the past couple years, I don't take that many naps now. But like this week, I've been so sleepy. I've taken like a nap every day after work.
Except for today.
Except for today.
We had things to do.
We did. So. Yeah. Okay. Well,
all right.
I guess a good episode. That's a wrap on episode 6. Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.